Hi, this is another Tandi's podcast. My name is Reza Sanjide, and today is August 16, 2023. This is my seventh podcast. Yes, this is the first year's anniversary. I only have 7 podcasts. It is not a good performance. 100% agree. I should do better. First, I want to make announcements and an update about my last episode. There were many people didn't like the way I said time is what do you think what it is. So they are partially right. This is very weak expression. It is not that extreme of weakness in the time philosophy. You know what? I am still thinking time is only exist because of you and me are here right now. And if you take us out of equation, time will disappear with us. So time is in our perception. And one of you advised me to read a book, The Order of Time by Carlo Ravioli. He's a professor of Aix-Marseille University, somewhere in France. He's an extremely good writer. He's very famous for his theory of quantum mechanics. And he wrote many books. He has another relative book to the same theme that he wrote much earlier in his life, and it called Time, and it called What is Time and What is Space. So I review both of them. I conclude despite his good writing, he is wrong in many ways in his own opinion, I think. His reaction is very different than mine. He looks at the time in a structural way. So he called past time because it is traceable to the past, and future time, since it's not traceable, he does not know what to call them. So he has to bypass that. The way he thinks has deficiency. At the same time, he measure it in very different way. I quote him directly: "Our feet are actually younger than our head because he calculate everything based on Earth gravity, which to me, even gravity is questionable phenomenon. The way he looks at the time, it's like influx of certain points because he wants to fit in with his understanding of time and his views. The more I look at his life achievement, I can tell why he think like that. He wrote another book called Anaximander and Nature of Science. Anaximander is a philosopher belonging to Milton school of thought. It's a branch of pre-Socrates philosophy based in Turkey today, but in 6th century BC. The Sultan of Milton produced 3 thinkers who together formed the basis of later became one of the first Western scientific mythology. It is generally considered to be the first school of thought of ancient Greek. Later, these philosophers built on their groundbreaking ideas, but it was these men who were first known for using reason rather than superstitions to understand the world around them. This school is consisted of 3 philosophers: Thales, Anaximander, and Maximus, who were all primarily interested in cosmology and the origin of substance of the world. They all believed the world was made of fundamental element called arche. They are considered arche's attribute of the world, respectively water, apeiron, the unlimited, air, governed by nous, mind, or intelligent. The term pre-Socrates was coined to be highlight fundamental changes in philosophy, inquiries between the philosopher who lives before Socrates then who were interested in the structure of nature and cosmology, and Socrates and his successor, who were mostly interested in ethic and politics. In some sense, the Milton School is the first materialistic school of thought. I know they're still looking at Ache as if it is the heart of creation, but they are trying to explain things as it is a tangible thing. So that is the school of Carlo Ravioli is somewhat developed his thinking. I'm not jumping to any conclusion, but the way he thinks is trying to build explanatory story around the time outside his parameters. In the other hand, I look at the fundamental thing. Again, I'm not trying to say that he is wrong, which he is in many ways, but from my point of view. Hey, philosophy is something complicated. There are right and wrong, two sides of one thing. They completely took in my opinion, he completely took wrong approach to look at the time philosophy. Then again, thank you for your criticism. I really appreciate it. It make me read a lot more books and challenge my thought. I have so much note now that I can definitely write an essay about it, about time. And I will call that Time Under Criticism. So why it is important that we should think critically, basically about everything around us. And whatever you're not sure, you should mark it as with a question mark. That's why first rule of law of understanding. And again, the philosophy is the best tool you may have. This episode, the new episode, is about uncertainty. And I think uncertainty is a very important subject in our life that we don't look at deep enough and where that coming from. So that's why I made this episode. Uncertainty refers as state of doubt, lack of knowledge, or unpredictability about particular event or situation or outcome. It is representative of absence of complete or precise information. Make it difficult to determine the likelihood or outcome of the event with certainty. Uncertainty rises due to various factors, including incomplete data, complexity, randomness, ambiguity, and limited of understanding underlying process of various factors. Uncertainty is a fundamental aspect of many fields, including science, economy, decision theory, and everyday life. It is play crucial role in risk management, forecasting, problem solving, and decision-making process. Uncertainty can be categorized into different type, and such as the inherent and randomness, epistemic uncertainty, lack of knowledge, or ontological uncertainty, fundamental of ambiguity and unpredictability. Dealing with uncertainty often involves assessing probabilities, making assumptions, considering multiple scenarios, and employ various strategies to manage or reduce uncertainty impact. This is when you categorize what uncertainty is. But what is exactly uncertainty? How the philosopher perceived it. In order to understand uncertainty, you must distinguish between certainty and uncertainty. In order to do that, you process and compare new information to your internal knowledge, and in which to progress to certainty or not. But when you don't have complete understanding of or lack of knowledge, you don't reach either one. So in theory, you're in limbo. It could be anything between 10% to 90% certainty or uncertainty. But you didn't reach the level that you can say, I am certain. It is quintessential that you know where the common sense knowledge or information that you have and you constantly review to reach certainty coming from. So you go to school roughly for 12 years. And some countries, they have different systems to teach. Some of them are 10, 11, 13, but consensus is 12 years. Then you go to university and you get specialized in something. You have some set of knowledge in which take about 16 to 26 years, independent of your life and independent of what you're studying. It is presumptions that you know what you are talking about after graduation from university. So then you've been called a professional, expert, doctor, or other title that I have no idea what they are named of. So you are going to say, okay, what is that has to do with uncertainty? We always have a state of doubt, and all of these philosophers for hundreds of years have talked. And why am I questioning the state of doubt? The system we have now is much better, more advanced for the better. So be patient. I'm going to get there. And why is this short history is important? In theory, we are more educated. We can accomplish more in certain area. For example, we build high-rises much faster. We have hospitals with many surgeons and doctors. We have machinery that can see inside your body in exponential speed of time, and much more. And all of these are true, no doubt. But there are missing elements in our lives, and that is because we have been called professional, maybe, or we think that we know more. Could be. But I doubt it. I have argued many times with other people who were skilled in one field but argued about something they don't know anything about it. And they act as if they know. On the other hand, many people who think they are bright and knowledgeable, and because deep in they know they don't know, they don't risk the argument and they keep it quiet. Why? It is very simple. Because they don't want to lose face. So they accept the common narrative and they say yes because they feel less risky. And then a lot of us feel that common narrative was our idea and we act as our own. Naturally, we choose so-called prominent voices, anybody high level of the government entity, personal or person in big news agency. It could be a professor at very prestigious school. And again, the reason we believe them deeply is because we are uncertain. The uncertainty inside us is not developed overnight. They have been working on it for years. Remember school system, 16 to 26 years of teaching us, not reading civic, mistakes on many essential lections to our development of basic knowledge in our lives. We are product of today's school system. And what we don't know, we don't know. Donald Rumsfeld, the defense secretary for first or second Bush, he was after September 11, I guess, or it was before, that he came out and it says the stuff we don't know, that we don't know. So it is similar to that extent. The development of uncertainty in us so much, became a hidden epidemic. Most of us are in a state of doubt all the time. So we are training ourselves to turn off, mostly because we have been told to do so. When you can't do anything about something that bothers you, leave that for the others. They want you to think that you're not important. And some of us wants to prove otherwise. We develop a way to feel important, or some buy guns and killing others. They must develop uncertainty to the level that they can't control us. The way they want to do it, for example, they tell us to fight for your country because your country is worth giving your life for that. And that's all you have. Please give that. But for your idea is not worth fighting for, but your country is. Let me tell you a story about war and what a nation does to own citizens. The first Gulf War wasn't Americans' war in Iraq. The first Gulf War was between Iran and Iraq. It took 8 years to settle no peace, no trade, it just ceasefire. 1 million Iranian dead, 50,000 Iraqi dead. I was in the war between 1981 to 1983. Exactly 2 years, 10 days, and 12 hours. I was one of the last one in our group who finished our service. They were the most difficult years in my life. After 40 years, still cannot talk about it. I became sensational. The argument for Iraq war was they attack us, so we must defend our country. Makes sense, isn't it? Later, we find out the Iranian who have been leave and have roots in Iraq provoke Iraq's government to attack us. Mullah's government in Iran has a difficult time. They needed a war. They were facing a revolution inside revolution. They must somehow unite the country as usual. These governments have always done so to find a common enemy outside the perimeters. So Iraq war was the best idea for them. And as I remember, the goal was the road to Quds, which is today Palestine. And the slogan was, the road from Quds goes from Karbala, which is a city in Iraq. So we go conquer Iraq. From there, we have to go to defeat Israel. But later, we find out that American give Iraqis ammunition, and so did Israeli to us. Ironic, isn't it? They were never want to fight Iraq. They just want people to be quiet inside Iran. And that was the main goal. They want to silence the opposition. And they stabilized their own government. I must say they were very successful. This war was the reason Iraqi regime fell. They accumulate so much death that they never could repay that. That's why they conquered Kuwait for the money. Let's not get to this. We get lost in it. We will go back to uncertainty. Yes, we have reached the most poisonous time in our lives, in my opinion. Let me elaborate more. Uncertainty is a circumstance that some individual can never transcend. And you are constantly debating whether you should do anything or not. You will be skeptical of particularly everything. You will lose gradually trust. But the problem does not stop here. You will also become helpless and controlled. Even when you don't agree, you go along because you are unsure of your abilities and resistance. So even though you disagree, you accept the result. Uncertainty has been evolved into a form of governance. You are advised to do this or that. Neither is what you want. But if you are unsure, you go with flow. It is a fight and a struggle. You feel that you are alone in it, and very few others express to understand that. And that is how you feel an isolated environment. So what do you expect? You are a product of uncertainty. Some people are aware of it, mostly not. But neither group don't want even to touch it. Why? Because uncertainty means that you are weak. So you do comply, and the reason for that is to not show your fragility. A lot of academics are aware of this problem. A lot of books has been written about this matter. Very few touch deep enough. Clearly, it's something that should be more investigated. Well, we have to get help from philosophy to get to the state of mind. Philosophy never ever teach us weakness, sadness, inferiority, and fragility. It's always steer us to the right direction, make you knowledgeable enough by giving you more information, learning truth, and understanding wisdom and awareness. How they do that? By telling you stories. These stories are about you. Yes, you. People are like you, act like you, are in a similar situation as you are in now. Uncertainty can be consume you as much as you are disappearance. Yes, certainly can be very dangerous. But this is the only one side of a story. Muhammad bin Abdullah, the last prophet of Islam religion, put one of the pillar of Islam in shak, meaning don't believe. Put everything in doubt, unless you can prove it for yourself. But how he could prove God, which he is prophet of? The most contested figure in the world, and that is what he represents. How could shak be a pillar of Islam? It is like you tell someone to believe but don't believe. It is contradiction. But it was crucial for him to put it in the pillar of Islam. He knew people will use his God argument to establish to unbelief his religion, that eventually could bring down Islam by itself. How shak, which means uncertainty, will help him here to believe in the God idea. Here we have to understand what belief is. There are two sets of beliefs. The first group with the understanding of things to be 100% proven to be correct. Like 2 plus 2 equals 4. Water is H2O, and etc. The second group is what you can prove to be correct, but you must believe in it, and that is the heart of the problem. Many of us believe in many things which can be proven, and mostly are not true either. Historical events usually questionable. I'm not going too far back in history. Even recent historical events could be not true, but some totally believe in it. Where am I going with this? And what has to do with uncertainty? I would say a lot. Uncertainty does not have to become certainty 100% of the time for to be accepted. It is a good tool to put things in question that help you not to say, I am 100% sure on something. And if you find out that something is not be correct, don't believe in it any longer. It is okay to say I was wrong on this and I should correct myself. This is what shak helps you with get reasonable understanding of world around you. Only must be on percentage on one side or the other side, but you must not deny something where you are not sure. Also, never ever comply on something that you don't really know anything about it, especially if it is quintessential to your life. You should use uncertainty to reach certainty, and sometimes could be challenging, and that is what life is, to be challenged for the better. You don't have to gain 100% certainty. 70% certainty is better than 69%. But you can also lose certainty all the way. It could be disappointing, but only because you didn't reach this point sooner. You should be proud of yourself. To be wrong need courage. And only you can correct yourself when you accept to be wrong. In Quran, God gave verses that praise people who accept wrongdoing more than people who pray all their lives. Accepting to be wrong makes you a better human. You will get to the level where you can fix a lot of your problem you may have in your life. Uncertainty may never reach the level of 100% certainty, but that was never the point. The goal was to challenge yourself to use uncertainty as a way to constant development of your knowledge, as one of your means for more research. So the question comes back and asks, do I have to fight for uncertain matter, just like the certain matter? I think all of you know somehow the answer by heart. Of course, yes, idea worth fighting for. If you think all idea must be certain, not at all. Ideas are very uncertain matter. Sport, love, and most importantly, believe in God, which is the most questionable thing ever talk about. God is quite very controversial figure ever. It is super uncertainty. Even then, still a lot of people fighting for it. Uncertainty shouldn't be used for depression, should not be used for creating oppression, which we see every day has been used commonly. Edward Bernays, nephew of Sigmund Freud, used whatever he learns from his uncle to create wealth for himself. He wrote a book in 1917 called Propaganda. He teaches industry how they can create perception and how they can use these tools to control society, and unfortunately they were very successful. We should be aware of these technology to be used against us. We should be vigilant, but not be afraid. We should celebrate life with all the vicissitudes, and we are in the process of our metamorphosis. Talk about metamorphosis. Definitely read the book by Kafka. It is a very good book to read. Also the book by Gabor Mate called The Myth of Normal, which is quite a good book to read. Yes, it was long pause. 100% agree, I should do better. I got a new microphone that should alone help me to galvanize to do more podcasts, which I am very excited about. These podcasts only motivated by you listeners. Thank you.